Hello, welcome to today's tutorial. Today we are going to be looking into creating a backend for a note-taking app. So we're going to be looking into the CRUD operations, and we're going to be using Express JS as our framework, which is based on Node. So if you don't have Node installed on your system, you want to install that right now by going to nodejs.org, download the installer for your operating system. But I'm not going to be doing that because I already have it installed. So the next thing you want to do is initialize our app. So once you install the node on your system, you should be able to do node run node-v and get the version. So for me, version 18.12 is already installed. And the next thing we want to do is to initialize our app. So to do that, we're going to run npm init to initial for initialization, and then -y. The -y flag is telling Node to automatically generate the package JSON for us. Without the -y flag, it's going to ask us for uh, some details and use it to prefill the package.json, which is like the heart of our application. That is where the versions of all the packages we are going to be used is going to be housed, and it's also used for version control and a whole lot of other uh, things which we'll get into later. Okay, I think I make a mistake there. That should be npm init-y. You can see it has automatically generated the application, the package JSON for us. Then the next thing we want to do is I'm going to open this folder in the code editor. So right now, all what we have is this package.json. We don't have much yet. And the first thing we want to do is install our packages. So we're going to be using some basic packages. So we can install packages by using the command npm. I'm going to be using the I flag instead of install. I is just the short for install. So npm install, and then we're going to write the names of the packages we want to install. So first of all, we want Express. We also want Express validation. Express validator. I think that should be, yeah, validator. And next should be Mongoose. And then we want to install Bcrypt for encryption. Bcrypt, JSON web token, then .env for our environment variables. I think that's basically it. So I'm going to press the enter to install those packages. So then we want to update this our script here. We need some other script. So we're going to add the dev and the start script. So here the dev is going to be nodemon. We're going to use nodemon to start the app. That will be nodemon src slash app.js. This is going to be our root of our application. And then the start script here. I'm going to change this to start. So I'm just going to change this to node src app.js. After we've done that, we want to create our source folder src and then create the app.js. So quickly we're going to bootstrap our application. So import. Okay. I'm going to be using module. I think we can. So I forgot to mention that I'm going to be using module here. So what we're going to do is we're going to install Babel to enable us to use module for our import. We're going to install some other packages, so which are Babel. We're going to install Babel, but these are going to be dev dependencies. So I'm going to put the -d flag, and it's going to be at Babel /core at Babel /node and at Babel /preset-env. So having this, let's install that. And then we need to update this to app.js. Then we'll save that. So back here, the first thing we want to do is import Express. So we need import Express from Express. Now our packages have been installed, and then there's one more other thing that we need to do. We need to set our Babel configuration, before continuing. So right in the root folder, I'm going to create a file called Babel rc, which is babel.rc, sorry. So we're going to rename this and then save it. And then I'm just going to paste the code. So then save it. Then we'll go back to our application here. And we want to import config from .env. The next thing we need to import is course. I'm not sure we installed course. So we're going to import course from course. So we need to install that. npm install files. And then we need to bring in our config for our env files. Config. So this will load our environment files. We have not yet declared it. We will declare that later. And then we want to start our application. We want to initialize our application. Set the middleware. Then I'm going to use app.options to set the options. For course. So currently I'm allowing all origins. I think I need to change this. I need to update that. So what I'm going to do is, first of all, I need to create an env file here. So that will be .env. And then add the port. The port we are going to be using is with 3080, and our host also, and our environment, which is NodeEnv. NodeEnv is going to be set to development. We're going to set this later. This should be localhost. So I think we are all set with that for now. This should be, I'm gonna call it host, and then we also need the production host. If you are running this on prod, so the production host. So this is in case you want to deploy your backend live. So this will contain the route to the IP address where the backend is being hosted, or also the host name. It could be the host name. So you could have something like http s : / I could have, I can say itech.com port 8020. That would be the port where your backend is hosted on your server. So right now we still have this, and I'm gonna split the screen here and then go back to my. So I'm going to update this course option to only allow specific origin or postman. So to do that, we need to define some origins which our app is allowed to, which our app will allow, when it sees a request from that origins. So what I'm doing here is I'm specifying that it should allow anything from localhost 3000, 3021. So you can add your hosts, your origins there, maybe wherever your front end is hosted. I'm going to remove this. Wherever your front end is hosted, and we are not using TypeScript in this tutorial. So here is our allowed origin, and here is the course option. So what we are doing here is checking if origin. So if no origin, probably the request is coming from Postman. But we also need to check our environment. Are we on development or production? So to do that, what we just need to do is check in the NodeEnv. So what I'm doing here is creating this variable, and I'm naming it dev. So it's once NodeEnv is not equals to production, which we have here to be development, it will set this as false. If it is not, you set it as true, sorry. It's not equals to production. If it's production, it will be false. So if no origin and dev, and we are on development, then it should allow a no origin request. But if you are not on development, it would not allow any request that is not included from this allowed origins. So that's just what this is all about. And then we need to include our course options, as part of our. So I'm gonna copy that and paste it here. Then we don't need this anymore. So now our course is up, is ready. And then the next thing we want to do is I want to install one more package, which is element for security. So this will help us clean our headers, our response headers. So elements, I'm going to include it here, app.use. Yes, we need Express JS. We also need Express encoded, yeah. Extended should be false. So this should be false. And then the next thing we want to do is we haven't imported the element. So we are also going to, it should be app.use. There's a mistake here. App.use element. So that should have imported it. You can see it's imported here. So that's all we need to do for element. And then we need to create to define our route. So here routes. So our initial route, before we initialize our other routes, is going to be the slash and the any other routes that is not found, the for route. So here we have a what I'm going to do here is this is going to be a response dot send. Instead of hello world, I'm going to say welcome to the note taking API. And then we need to define the for. So any other thing should be. So I'm going to append send status here. Send status dots. This is going to be 404. Page not found. Oh, not found. It's going to be 202 or 200. Let's make it 200. Now remember, we're still setting up our root application. And then the next thing we want to do is to listen for, to start the app, the Express app. So this is not all our routes. We are still going to bring in a route here. We are going to bring in something like this. Well, this is going to be routes. All our routes, we're going to import it here. Routes. But since we don't have it now, I'm going to comment this out. We've not yet defined the rest of the route. So here I'm going to start the application, which is app.listen. App.listen. We're going to pass in, instead of, port, we're going to pass in the host also. Process.env.host. And then we're going to console log server running on port, wherever here. But instead of returning it like that, we're going to make it into a function. And then we're going to start the app by calling the database connect, but we haven't initialized that yet. So I think we should be able to start now. And then I'll put it to do here. Just connect to DB. So we should be able to start our application by running npm run. You can either use yarn or npm, whatever you prefer. Npm run start or dev. Cannot use import statement out of a module. So yeah, we ought to define it as a module. I think we can define type here or something like that. Type and then module. So that should work now, you can see. But if you don't want to do this, if you want to, remember we installed Babel. So with Babel, we can use the module without having to specify module here. We can do that by changing our script here. Instead of using nodemon start, we're going to make it use our Babel configuration. So here is going to be nodemon space --execute Babel node, and then for the start also we're going to also update the script using Babel node. So I'm going to close this up and I'm going to start it again. This should work this time. You can see it's worked, and we didn't need to specify the type to be module. I know the module flag was experimental some time ago, but I don't know if it is now ready for production. So the next thing we want to do is connect to our DB. But before we connect to our, let's just go and connect to our DB. So inside the source folder, I'm going to create a DB folder and create a connect.js file. So inside the connect, we want to connect directly to our database. So I'm just going to paste it and express the piece of code. So what we're doing is importing mongoose here and then bringing in the DB URL local. So this is for the local, this is the string that connects us to the database locally. So I'm going to put it here. So we are going to update this later on with our Mongo DB string. This is for local, but I'm not going to be using a local version of Mongo DB. I'm going to be using a Mongo Atlas connection string. I'm going to show you how you can do that. So now that we have it, you can save this and go back. This should also be saved to our app. And then we can bring the connect function here. Connect. I'm going to bring it in from DB connect. You can see. And once we execute it, we are going to see an error because we don't have a database connection string. You can see what it's saying. The invalid scheme expecting connection string to start with MongoDB. So how do we get our connection string? So we need to go back to our browser and then open up Mongo Atlas, which is account.mongodb.com, or just enter mongodb.com and then you sign up here. I've already signed up. So now that our database has opened up, to connect to the database, you need to click on this connect and click on the driver. It will show you a connection string which you can copy, which is this. I'm going to copy this, and then you go back to your application and you paste it in your DB URL. So we can see here that we also require a username and password. So we need that also to connect to our database. So, and that is not the username and password we use to log in to MongoDB. Instead, you will need to go to database access and generate a new user. So here you can just create a new user. Click on create new user, and then I'm just going to use, this is the test user 2, and I'm going to generate a new password, copy the password string. So by the time this tutorial is out, this user would have expired, so you won't have access to it. So I'm going to make this a temporary user, give it 6 hours or even less, 6 hours to expire, and then copied this. I'm going to add in a building row. So this is I'm going to give you the access of reading and writing to any database. Okay. So you can also define custom roles or specific privilege, where you want it to access only a specific database or collection. I'm not going to do that since this is a temporary user. So I'm going to add the user, and I'm going to go back to our application, and then we'll replace the password, and then this should be, I think this is test user 2. I'm going to save this, and then we need to close our server and restart it for this to take effect. So you can see connection established here. You can see that. So now we are connected to our database, but then there's one more other thing we have just connected to Mongo Atlas. We have not specified a database. To specify a database, you come to the end of this slash and enter the name of the database we will be using. So I'll call it note taker, and then I'm going to save this. We also need to restart the server here. So you can see running on port 3080, connection established. So we can also test this endpoint. Let's go ahead and test the endpoint. So I'm going to open Postman. So in this Postman, I'm going to create a new, okay, so I'm going to use this. Our backend route is on 3080. Change this to 3080. A get request, you can see the get request there. Send this, we should get an OK. You can see we have an OK, but we got a error message also. I think there's a problem in our application. Okay, this should not be sent status. This should be status. Because what we are doing there is sending the status and at the same time sending a welcome message. So we should only be sending one message. So this will be status. I'm going to change this to status also. Status 4, save it. So now our app is started. If we try again, you can see connection established. Connection has been established. So, and you can see the welcome message here. Welcome to the note taking API. So if we enter a route that does not exist, let's imagine users, because we don't have a users route for now, we should get if not found, which is this. Now that brings us to the end of this part 1 of this tutorial. Watch out for the second part, which will be coming up soon. Subscribe to my page to get update on that. So in the next part, we are going to be looking at routes. We are going to be initializing our routes, and also we are going to be looking into the user login and authentication and authorization. So we are going to be working on the user login implementation in the second video. So stay tuned for more. See you at the other side.